This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The lone wolf, who you thought was a good collaborator because you didn't have the right candidate insights. But once you hired them, it was all hoarding info, declining meetings, and howling at the full moon? But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can go deeper than just the resume to find you a perfect fit by using insights from the LinkedIn network to give you a short list of best fit candidates. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Coffee's hot. Microphones are hot. Gentlemen, you ready to go?
I was born ready.
Yeah. Well, I was here before both of you, so clearly I'm chomping at the bit.
I'm here for
I'm a better person.
Virtue signaling on a Monday morning. I'm so good. On behalf of the men and women making podcast in Mom's Basement. Where are we going? I don't know. We're making podcast in Mom's Basement, and we're raising our mugs to salute the troops like we do on every Monday morning on behalf of the men and women in Mom's Basement. There we go. So you got to run into it. You got to get the motor running, head out on the highway, search for adventure. Have the men and women in Mom's Basement and the men and women at Navy Federal Credit Union. Here's a salute to the troops on this fine Monday. Thank you for keeping us safe all weekend. Let's go stack some Benjamins now, shall we?
Stacky, stacky.
Thanks, everybody.
Good morning, Christopher Robin.
Oh, good morning, Winnie the Pooh.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and today we're diving into your career brand. How do you put your best foot forward to score the deal, notch the raise, meet the right people, or make a good impression? You'll find a ton of tactics in the next hour. Speaking of career branding, I'll also share a TikTok minute video you can use to make your workplace meetings way more interesting, and we'll also share a question from Stacker Nick, who's wondering if using AI to build your financial plan is something worth considering. And now, two guys who thought AI meant Aunt Irene was coming over for dinner, if you know what I mean. I don't even know what I mean. It's Joe and OG.
I wish we knew what you mean half the time. I wish we had any clue what Doug means. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Stacking Benjamin Show. I am Joe Saul-Sehy, and this is your home for relaxed discussions about, some pretty deep dive money topics. And today we're tackling a career topic with my friend across the card table. Mr. OG is here. How are you, dude?
Oof, I am multitasking like a multitasking machine.
Wait a minute. So you've got the microphone and you're doing the one. Is it on the microphone and drinking coffee? Is that the multitask?
Coffee. I got emails going.
No.
I'm doing the things with the stuff, man.
Because everybody knows that
I might have had too much coffee.
Because everybody knows when you're trying to build unforgettable presence. As our guest on Wednesday, Lorraine Lee is going to talk about. Doug, what you do is you switch between a bunch of different tasks all the time.
Hold on. You said we're getting presents? I can pay attention for presents. Are they like birthday quality or more like Christmas quality?
Unforgettable presents.
Unforgettable presents?
Being present.
This is like Christmas.
I think I could add some clarification to the whole Pan thing here.
The N is silent.
The N. Are you saying Pan?
Yeah. That was well done, Doug. You get
for people that haven't seen the movie.
Getting a clap.
Slow clap.
Step Brothers. We just did our own little Step Brothers pull right there.
I'm just excited about presents.
Well,
I never get any presents. I did get a good present last year, but
you have bought everything there is that could have been a present for you, so nobody can give you anything.
It's not like somebody's buying me a new driver. So
he means first car, Doug. He doesn't mean on the golf course. That's exactly what he means.
Not what I mean.
Tom Peters, way back in the 1990s, management guru Tom Peters was a guy who began talking to people in middle management and young executives about brand you. And I remember how, as we were transitioning out of the 30 years of the same career to people changing jobs and changing places that they work, how innovative that seemed. Brand you, about not worrying about the company brand as much as you built your own brand. Well, and actually it was both, right? You build your own brand to help the company then build their brand. And I remember how shocking that was then. Well, now if you're not focused on brand you, I think it's a huge mistake. And so does our guest on Wednesday, Lorraine Lee, who is an executive with both LinkedIn and Prezi. Now she coaches fantastic executives how to get unforgettable presence, maybe different presence than OG thinks, but how to build your career brand. So we're doing that this week. Before we do our deep dive into one of Lorraine's topics, what she calls the RAVE model, we're going to the RAVE, OG. I know you're a big dancer.
I'm going to a rave and getting presents. This is the best podcast ever.
It is. It's incredible. Before we go to the rave, we are going to hear from a couple of our sponsors who make sure that this is free, all this goodness. And then we're deep diving into career branding. Let's go. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy to use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you.
I'm still picturing OG at a rave all hopped up on X. Can you imagine that?
Actually, if you know anything about me and dance clubs, picturing me would be like sitting in the corner with like a beer just going, this sucks so bad. Can I go home?
You know why, Doug? It's not because of the music or the rave. It's because it's 9:15.
Exactly.
It's
time to go. What are we doing? It's like at least a 30-minute Uber.
One of the many things that Lorraine lays out that I wanted to dive into today. And you know what? I think we'll do this a little bit on Friday when we've got Sandy Smith, who's an HR professional extraordinaire, who lately online, by the way, has been telling stories about unforced errors And I can't wait for us to hear some of her stories. But today, what I wanted to go into was this thing that Lorraine calls her RAVE model about growing your influence. She writes that there's lots of ways to become more influential. What matters is finding the methods and tactics that work for you. Last week with Taylor Swift, we were all about the strategies. This week, we're going to actually dive into, okay, do this, do this, do this. And the R in her model stands for relationships. She says Ross Pomerantz, the entrepreneur and content creator known to many as Corporate Bro, sums up why workplace relationships are such a crucial part of building influence. I love Corporate Bro is going to teach me about building influence, but actually Ross has a huge platform. And Ross says, how are you treating everyone else? Such an important part of moving up in a company is simply how you are human with other people. And OG, I think this is a great place to start because you'll see people that come into a company culture. Maybe the company culture is tight knit. People enjoy working together. And then you throw the one Machiavellian person in. We all know this person, right?
Whoa. That's a big word.
Yeah. We all throw the person who's like, so Doug, did you hear about the thing that Nancy said yesterday?
No, what'd she say?
Well, it's
Nancy. When did we hire Nancy?
And why are we talking about this on
Nancy.
our podcast?
Honestly, I don't believe anything she says.
Either that or the robot, right? The corporate robot, the person who comes in and just is a, 24/7 work. You never learn anything about the person. You don't know anything about your coworker. It feels very plastic. At 5 o'clock sharp, they're the first person to punch out, right? How human are you? I think being seen as another human being by your coworkers is a big step to beginning the relationship, not just the relationship journey, but succeeding in business journey.
Being a normal person.
Yeah, people buy from people. I mean, I know that's a cliche, but people totally do buy from people. How many times have you not comparison shop stuff because you're like, no, I'm buying it from Nancy because Nancy takes care of me.
Nancy's doing a lot of stuff lately.
Nancy's all over the place.
No, I mean, this is a great example. I was in the market, I said something about a new driver. I was in the market for a couple new golf clubs, and you can go to the store and they'll do all the video and all that sort of stuff and fit you with, here's how crappy your swing is. So this is the club you need to fix it, basically. I have a friend who also kind of runs some golf stuff. So I get this list of stuff and I called my friend and I said, hey, here's the stuff that the guy wants to sell me. What can you do for me? And he's like, oh, I can knock $50 off of that. And I thought, this guy worked really hard. And I had a good conversation with him for the span of about 3 hours, around golf. And I can see him being a resource in the future. Is it worth $50 to not have that relationship? And I looked at it and said, I would rather pay the $50 extra to buy from the guy who helped me so that I can, have that relationship in the future if I want to leverage it again.
Well, the guy who saved you over $50 of misery by getting you to this point in the first place, by going, I want this thing versus that
I mean,
thing.
if you thought about it that way, sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, it was an investment in time and
his knowledge base.
Yeah. So I paid a little bit more just to keep the relationship.
I was looking back at the Millionaire Next Door last week, and millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires shop almost exclusively, OG, via referral. It's funny. People that try to market to these people, they think that, hey, they got $1 billion, so I can pull one over on them. Well, guess what? Somebody didn't become a multimillionaire because of the fact that they're dumb and because somebody pulled the wool over their eyes. They actually are fantastic at finding value and also figuring out who the people are I can trust around me so I can make decisions quicker and I can have velocity. And it's funny how we get these through lines, right? Alex Hormozi at the beginning of the year said, be useful. Well, if I can build that relationship with the right people and be useful to them, how kick-ass is that? She's got 4 things that really help introverts. Well, help all of us, but especially introverts. Number 1, she says, is set a goal. If you have trouble, you're in a new organization, or heck, you're in an organization you've been in for a while and you feel like you don't have enough presence, she writes, you'll always be more successful if you can give yourself a tangible target. Try aiming for something like meeting 1 new person a week and see how your gains compound over time. Just set yourself, OG, a goal in this area and then work to achieve it. We're going to be breaking down a lot of this stuff into systems. I was watching a video with Rory McIlroy talking about how he succeeds. And he says, I can do one of two things. I can dream about winning the Masters like I just did, or I can focus on, he didn't say like I just did. I don't think Rory backwards, like I just did.
What a tool.
Flex.
He's been amazingly humble about the whole thing.
Yes,
like watching
he
the
has.
video, there was a video of him walking into the champions locker room, like literally pausing at each locker.
So good.
Well, did you see that? I was trying to explain to Cheryl, who doesn't follow golf, and this will be good for our people, our stackers who don't follow golf as well. Did you see the group of 5 golfers that he joined who have won every major? He is now number 6, I believe.
Right.
Yep.
3 of them did it on their first try. Ben Hogan, Jack Nicklaus are a couple that come to mind. There was a third one, maybe Gary Player. 2 others, including Tiger Woods, it took 3 tries. It took Rory McIlroy 11 tries. We were at the airport and everybody was gathered around every TV. There were so many people around all the TVs as you walk by the different, restaurants in the airport. And Cheryl's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, it's the Masters and Rory McIlroy. She's like, I didn't know who that is. And I said, oh, he's trying to win this. She goes, oh, it's a golf tournament. I said, well, yeah, but it's the Masters. And this is the one he needs.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, why is that a big deal? And when she heard it was 11 tries, then she wanted to watch him because he kept working. But what Rory said that I thought was compelling was, I can dream about winning a golf tournament. And a lot of people do. Hey, someday I'm going to win a golf tournament. He goes, but that really gets you nowhere. It's the result of your systems. You can try to rise to your goals, but you're truly going to fall to your systems. He goes, so yeah, I want to win the Masters. I need to do this. 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 So if you're not getting the raise, you're not getting the promotion, people are overlooking you at work, setting a goal to go meet one new person a week and see your gains compound over time is fantastic. Second, yeah, Doug?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in a little bit because you, before we started talking about Rory McIlroy, we were talking about your presence. If you're joining a new team, I think you talked about, how do you increase your presence? What I saw as a common mistake for people in that situation, even if they weren't early in their career, people just joining you get a new job and you think, I got to make a statement here. Like I have to let them know I've got the goods. I've got the skills. They hired me for a reason. It is very easy to come out of the gate a little too strong. It's actually probably one of the most common mistakes. I can't remember if it was Jack Welch, but somebody talked about, or Warren Buffett, like spend your first 6 months listening and speak very rarely. And when you do, that is what will create the presence that you truly is the thing you're seeking, because your words will carry so much weight. Coming out of the gate too strong, too early is a good way to lose credibility and you'll get the wrong kind of presence.
Well, how many times have you had that happen to you? You're like, really? You just got here. You've no idea the history behind this entire project, and you're going to solve everything today.
You nailed it. That's exactly right, Joe. Because even if what you said was great because you come in with all this great previous experience, a lot of companies say, no, we want your outside experience. You bring a lot of great perspective. The people sitting around the table probably didn't make the hiring decision and are thinking, you don't know all the pain and suffering we've gone through for the last 6 years on this project or whatever it is. You don't have the history to be able to talk that way. So it's just not 9.5 times out of 10, it's not going to work. Listen.
It's funny because you can totally see the executive making that call, and you can also see the executive setting everybody up for failure in that call. Like if you don't handle that right coming into that team, it's going to be horrible.
Yep.
Because they know you're the person coming in from the bullpen to solve the problem with this problem unit. Yeah. Next is join an employee resource group, ERG. Join an ERG or a committee, and this is the key, guys, not directly related to your job. Something that is much different than your job. This is a wonderful way to connect with people across the company you wouldn't normally encounter. When we talked to Oscar Munoz at United Airlines, and we'll link to that episode, he shares a lot of stories about this very stuff. He talked about, he worked in manufacturing, he worked in engineering, he worked in finance, he worked in all the different disciplines of the company. So he got to know the company from all these different people's point of view, which was incredibly helpful later at helping him, to your point, Doug, listen to what was going on. I think joining these organizations is a great way to get a leg up. The third one, and this is funny, Doug, because he's not going to admit this here, but this is actually OG. Be a cheerleader. When people share updates in a channel, be quick to add an emoji or offer a positive comment. They'll appreciate you for being supportive in a
You've
very
gone
public
too
way.
far. I mean, come on. OG is the basement cheerleader.
He totally is a cheerleader.
You're selling this right now?
He's a cheerleader. That's not his public persona, but he's 100% a cheerleader. He'll call you out of the blue and go, hey, I saw we did this.
He's got a whole vibe going, man. Don't ruin it.
I know.
Don't show everybody under the blankets, behind the curtains.
Under the blankets. What the hell? No, I will not go camping with you, Doug.
Might not be the analogy you were looking for.
I know.
I've got this spacious one-man pup tent.
For two.
Oh, look, there's only one sleeping bag. Brr, it's cold.
Hold me.
So
cheerleaders. Focus, Joe. Cheerleaders.
Yeah. This can go too far. There's a gentleman in our community who I know is an incredible cheerleader. But what's wild is Cheryl came to a conference that I was at and was just there for kind of the social time and met this individual. And she goes, what a slime ball. Like, he is so over the top, clearly cheerleading to raise his own profile that it just, now here's the funny thing. I roll my eyes. Cheryl rolled her eyes, meeting him for 10 seconds. This dude online, whenever he posts anything online, gets hundreds of comments on his post, hundreds of comments. So, well, probably not for me. I don't know, man. I think being the wrong type of cheerleader can go too far because while tons of people like you, you never know. You never know who won't.
It's shallow, right? It's disingenuous. It's just not.
It is so disingenuous. You're like, really? He was really nice to me for about 6 weeks, and I knew it was going to drop, Doug. Then the request to come on the Stacking Benjamin show came. It was just so clear.
Took me like 6 months, dude. Get in line.
But I do know, OG, that in your practice, part of being a cheerleader is like celebrating people's birthdays. Like, part of this you can systematize.
Yeah, I mean, all of that's fine, birthdays and that sort of thing. But I think especially when you're talking about money, if you're looking toward the future, you're more likely to kind of feel like there's kind of no end in sight. There is no end game with money. If your goal is to be financially independent, that number is dynamic. It changes. When I was 30, I remember thinking, my goodness, if I could have $3 million in the bank, that's like $10,000 a month for the rest of my life. Like, that is so much money. It's insane. I can retire as soon as I get there. And there's plenty of people who would agree with me that whatever that number is, as you get closer to it, you go, well, maybe a little more, little more margin of safety, a little bit more. Maybe my lifestyle has changed a little bit. And so there's never an end goal. And that can be frustrating. That can be, like, I thought I would feel differently. Charlie Munger says, as soon as you have 100,000, your, life is great. And it's like, people hit that number and they go, well, I don't feel any different today than I did yesterday when I had $99,400 and now I have $100,600. Okay. Or as soon as I get to 1 million, my life will be great. And it's like, you get to 1 million and you go, okay, as soon as you pay off the house, your life will be great. It's like, you pay off the house, feels awesome. It's cool. Is your life profoundly different? Probably not. Doug says it is. But I think it's important when you're looking at financial goals to think back from where you've come, because it's impossible for us to concentrate or agree with or even fantasize about those compounding multiples of growth, right? When you sit down and do grab your calculator and say, I've got this amount of money, I'm going to put in this amount every month, and it's going to grow at 8% a year. By the time I'm 60 years old, I should have blank dollars. And the compounding number it's so profound, right? You're like, I'm not going to have $4 million. That's silly. But if you look backwards, you can start measuring what you've done. If you've built financial plans or you've taken notes in your life about money, go pull up the notes from 2020. It's been 5 years since 2020. Weird, right? Hey, COVID was half a decade ago, in case you didn't know.
Stop it.
I know. So look at your financial status or what was going on. Go pull your tax returns from 2020. Like, look at where you were in 2020 and look at where you are in 2025. That's how you can measure growth, is you have to measure it backwards. So I think it's important when you think about money goals or financial planning goals to measure backwards. But I also think it's important to recognize, our friend Dan Sullivan says, you will likely severely overestimate what you can get done in a year and profoundly underestimate what can get done in 25 years. 25 years seems like a country mile away, but it'll be here. It's 100 quarters, so you can take your lifetime goal and break it down into 100 increments.
You can even take that with a year and a day. I think we overestimate what we can do in a day, and we underestimate what we can do in a year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the one,
even then,
it's the 1 degree, it's the 1 extra pound of lifting, it's the 1 more rep. It's like, whatever sort of analogy you feel like putting out there. I've talked before about my addiction to chewing tobacco when I was in the military, and that spilled over to being out of the military. And one day I just stopped. I've said I have never quit chewing. I'm just not doing it today. And now that's gone on for probably 15 years at this point. It's not about a lifetime of decision making. I'm just trying to make a decision today. Like, I'm just not going to do that thing today. I'm not promising I'm never going to do it, because, maybe I will, but I'm just not doing it today. So same thing with money, just don't spend money today. Just save $1 today. You don't have to save $1 every day.
Yeah. Or in this case, with building those relationships that build careers, right?
Yeah.
Just deal with the relationship today.
Just work on one thing today. You don't have to worry about, like, how do I get promoted to senior vice president today? Today is, how do I,
meet one more person?
Yeah. Be nice to one person.
How do I cheerlead for something that doesn't influence me at all and be somebody who's in their corner? It is interesting too, when you're in those company chats. Like, I know we'll see sometimes very public chats, right? In company, whether it's Teams or Slack or whatever corporate thing that you use. I think you'll want to focus on all the people that aren't commenting on what you say, because tons of people see the thing that you did who will never, ever comment on it, but they're certainly forming an opinion of what you're saying, what you're doing in that meeting. And if you can be a cheerleader for people when it doesn't affect you. As an aside, by the way, this is also really fun for you. OG, I'm going to say a woman's name who you and I both know. Her name is Linda James. Linda James was the receptionist in the Southfield Ameriprise office when I was in my Ameriprise portion of my career. Do you remember Linda?
Not at all.
Oh, you don't know her. Okay. Linda was easily the shittiest receptionist in the entire market group. She was absolutely horrible at her job.
It's Joe at stackingbenjamins.com, Linda.
A gentleman named Tony Whitbeck, who runs that office, had a decision to make. Do you fire somebody who clearly hates her job and isn't good at it, or do you send her for more training? And what I think was a brilliant move, because it's so hard to create a new good employee, he instead sent her to Nordstrom training versus hiring somebody different. Linda went from the worst receptionist to easily the best receptionist, easily within 6 months. I asked her, I even told her the reason I said her name is because she knows. I thought she was horrible. Like, she was just, you would walk into this office and you could tell she was miserable, and she made everybody else miserable because she was miserable. And then later on, every time you'd walk in, she's like, Joe, how are the twins doing? Joe, what's going on with X? She always seemed to know what was going on in my life. What was cool, though, was if you stood by the coffee, which was right around the corner, and you watched clients come in, she knew that about everybody. And I said, what the hell did they teach you, Linda? Because you're phenomenal. And this idea of cheerleading, OG, was the thing that she learned, was that it is super fun to care about other people's lives. And her job being a good receptionist, she thought it would be easier to get through her day by just counting the hours. If she counted the hours to the end of the day, she would just get through it and live to see another day. She's like, what's funny? The days went by much shorter, and they were far more interesting when people came in and actually gave a damn. Like, it was more fun for her. They taught her it was a better way to do your job.
OG, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is an intervention. We're trying to get a message through.
I just need to be nicer. Start giving a damn, and my day will be better.
So there was this guy on this podcast.
We all know him. Great guy. We sent him to Nordstrom's training. Didn't work. Got to send him to Disney training. See if that'll work.
Such a great lesson that caring about other people just makes you better at your job. Fourth is a tough one for a lot of people. Show vulnerability. Offering up something about yourself tells people that you trust them, and makes them more likely to reciprocate. It's a cheat code for developing trust and the foundation for a strong relationship. There's a series of books, OG, by this novelist, Tony Hillerman. Joe Leaphorn is a main character in the novels. There's a great series, Doug, called Dark Winds that I think you'd really, really like, which features Joe Leaphorn.
Throwing that bait out there again, aren't you?
Look at me just poke you.
Yeah.
Doug doesn't like these at all. They're fantastic, everybody, but Doug just, you know.
Some people like them. I do not.
Whatever. Oh, gee, now the intervention goes the other way. So there's this guy named Doug that doesn't know good series. But Joe Leaphorn has this interesting approach, OG, again, a tactic. He knows that the teller at the bank is not allowed to give away any of the client information, right? And not allowed to do it. But Joe knows humans. And Joe knows that if he overshares a little bit, something vulnerable about him, the person is going to want to reciprocate. And they're going to be a little bit more vulnerable back. So Joe would always overshare something about his life. Then the bank teller would like him more. And then he'd say, hey, has this person come in here and maybe deposited a $10,000 check? She's not allowed to tell him that. She tells him anyway, because of what I call the Joe Leaphorn rule. But I think that if you in a relationship maybe share a little bit, maybe not about that rash, but share a little bit about you, that's going to go a long way.
Do you have a salve maybe that would help me?
I think it's pronounced salve. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Second on her list is appearances. How many times, OG, has showing up looking the part gotten you the job?
I mean, I've been doing the same thing for damn near 30 years. So
He's never been on a job interview.
I don't think this would be a great thing for me. No, I mean, I can think of something else that I do where appearance really matters. And it does. I mean, it's largely the things that you can control. And that's, I think, really what maybe that all encapsulates here. It's like, if how you look physically is important for, if you're a actor or a model or, whatever it is that you do that requires you to be client facing or whatever the case may be, right? You can control how that package looks in some way, shape, or form. You can control that your shirt is pressed or that your tie is tied correctly or that you've got a haircut recently. You know what I mean? Like, you can, it maybe seems superficial, but those are outward appearances that other people can see that you give a crap.
Well, if you use the word superficial, which I think is a lot of people's first reaction to that, but it says something else. It says that you can pay attention to details and that you care about things that aren't necessarily just the job. So I don't
remember if I heard this in a movie or if I learned this somewhere else. Shoes, right? You can tell, are the shoes shined? Are they polished? Well, if you're trying to shine your shoes really quickly, what do you focus on?
Your spit.
The top, right? Your spit.
Well, that's how you do it.
It's not how you do it, but okay.
Doug likes to just Haktua.
Yeah,
spit on it.
Haktua those shoes, baby.
But what's the part that most people don't pay attention to?
The heel.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, again, to your point about attention to detail, you can tell pretty quickly if somebody gives half a crap or a full crap, right? Like,
right.
Are the back of your shoes as shiny as the front of your shoes? Like, all of this, I think more of a demonstration of you're controlling what you can control. You can't control if you go to the sales meeting and the guy says no, right? You can't control if you go to the meeting with your boss asking for a raise or promotion and you don't get it. But you can control how you show up to that thing. As much as you can control that stuff, the rest of it is just how it falls. If you're in a position where you have to look a certain way and you don't look that way, that's kind of some of your control. If you didn't wear a nice suit and you could have, that's on you. It's not on them that they made you wear a fancy suit.
Or even I mean, we used to tell, I coached a lot of youth baseball teams and other sports teams. And we used to tell the kids, fail on the hard stuff. Don't fail on the easy stuff. Show up on time, put in the effort. All of that stuff is in your control. You might have to take some risks and you might fail on that, and that's okay. But don't fail at the easy stuff.
Remember the movie, Remember the Titans?
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Remember the scene where they're playing the tough team from Grove and they decide they're going to warm up a little differently and they all come out and do their little thing. Think about the intimidation factor of having that part of your life wired, right? It's like, oh my God, if they can coordinate the stretching routine, what's their offense going to look like?
Well, and how many times when you've walked into a meeting, and I've been in these meetings before, and I'm sure you guys have too, you walk into a meeting and somebody's appearance intimidates you and you realize it's on purpose. It's a tactic. They actually dress that way specifically to intimidate you.
I'll give you the complete opposite of that. Years and years and years ago, this is early in my career, trying to make center of influence connections, right? Mortgage broker, CPA, whatever. So I have this mortgage broker that I like. We're getting some work done. And he says, hey, I want you to come to this seminar that I think would be really helpful. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to this thing, very quickly figure out this is an MLM deal of some kind. And everybody's, if you can't tell who the sucker is, it's you, at the poker table. It wasn't me because I was like, I know what's going on, but it was so staged, it seemed in my mind. People were clapping. I'm like, woo, Joe's amazing. And it's like, shut up.
That's got to be staged.
What a plant, But what did it for me mostly had nothing to do with the words or any of the stuff, because I had just been made fun of this personally, which was I bought a suit. I was a new financial planner. I didn't have any money. I bought a suit at JCPenney. I thought it would be a good idea to get the wrinkle-free one. Who wants a wrinkly suit? So I got the Hagar wrinkle-free. I remember this distinctly because I was sitting in a room with two of my bosses and they were talking about custom suits and whatever. And then they made just a side comment of, yeah, like, not like I'm buying Hagar wrinkle-frees. And they both kind of look at me like, oh crap. Oof. And I open up the inside of my coat and it says Hagar wrinkle-free on the inside. And we just had a big laugh with this. Well, anyways, so I now know that Hagar wrinkle-frees apparently are not the creme de la creme of suits that I thought they were. I mean, for $299. Anyway, you remember, if you buy a suit, sometimes it has the tag on the outside.
Yes.
And you got to cut that off. Yes. The presenter was wearing a Hagar wrinkle-free with the tag on the outside he hadn't cut off yet.
Wow.
And I knew watching that, I was like, this is so staged. This guy doesn't even know he's not supposed to wear a Hagar wrinkle-free. And he's projecting I drive Lamborghinis and I make millions.
I'm old money. I'm surrounded by old money. And blah, 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 blah.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And so that whole appearance component of it, kind of collapsed for me because I knew just being exposed to those other things, like he wasn't controlling that component of it. He could have bought $1,000 suit and would have convinced me.
Well, I don't know if the message you were trying to send was buy an expensive suit. I don't think so. I think it was pay attention to the details, cut the damn tag off. I mean, you might only be able to afford the JCPenney suit. That is fine. But just make sure that it's clean.
Again, control the controllable.
Don't have the little sticker on the side that says 35 by 30 that goes all the way down the leg of your pant. You got to take that sticker off.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Doug, because I think the takeaway here is super important, which is OG just pointed out two things. There are people that know about the tag on the suit. There are people that will look at the heel of your shoe. Right? People are looking at it. Some of it you're going to be able to control. Some of it you can't. At the very least, show up controlling what you can inside your budget. Take care of what you can. It's amazing how often I remember showing up at the office early in my career, and there was a dude who had a lot of body hair. He had just a lot of chest hair.
This guy,
and he would not wear a t-shirt under his white shirt. He thought nobody was paying attention to that. We were all paying attention to that. You could not pay attention to that. Mm-hmm. Like that was huge. I thought, OG, to your point.
You wore 2 white t-shirts under your.
I started wearing 6 just to make sure that all this doesn't get out there. Early in my career, I thought that I could save some time by just buying these shoes that I found at cheap shoe place that were plastic, right? That just looked like they were shine perfectly all the time. And I thought nobody noticed.
Like rental tuck shoes.
Oh, they totally look like that. And I thought, this is the best. This is fantastic. Well, when those wore out, I decided, I don't remember what happened, but I decided to buy some good shoes. And so I bought some just Florsheim shoes that go with your suit. And I remember walking in with those. I mentioned Tony Whitbeck earlier, the manager of the Southfield office. I walk in. I wasn't there, OG, for more than 30 seconds before Tony goes, hey, you finally got rid of those cheap ass shoes. People don't say stuff to you when you're wearing it. they say it when you figure it out later. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, they said it to me while I was wearing it. At least I'm not wearing a Hagar wrinkle-free. Oh, sorry.
That's just some love. All right, there's the R and the A. By the way, just to put a point on appearances, two things I love that Lorraine talks about. If you work outside the office, when you're in the office, because you're not there very much, super important. When you actually show up face-to-face, whether it's a Zoom meeting or if it's face-to-face in the office, remember those times are going to matter even more. And then second, when you're on that Zoom call, think about not just the background behind you, but things like I had to learn for television, don't wear stripes. If you wear stripes, especially on a Zoom call.
Or green.
Yeah. Or don't wear green.
Then you're just like a head.
Do the virtual background and wear green. That goes over great. That's the R and the A, relationships and appearances. We got the VE after the break, but Doug, I think we're going to take a little pause here because I think it's about time for some damn trivia. Come on.
Sure is, Joe. Hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom. Well, are we at Talladega? What are you doing?
Come on.
Know what I'm saying? Hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and I was this many years old when I found out what a philatelist was. I thought he or she was, someone who philadeled. Which just sounds gross, right? But call off the alarm, all you standing up there on the moral high ground, because it turns out a philatelist is someone who, wait for it, collects stamps. Good news, too. Because they're collecting, they don't even have to lick them, which is weird considering that's totally what I thought. Anyway.
No.
Moving from stamps to coins, I then wondered what a coin collector was called, and that's apparently a numismatist, which I always thought was some sort of magician. But apparently, a numismatist takes coins and magically tells you what they're worth. So let's talk numismatism. I nailed it. I got it. Let's talk numismatism for today's trivia. On today's date in 1787, the Continental Congress authorized the first 1-cent coin. The guy who was the inspiration for the design is a legend in these parts. So there's the question, who inspired the design and the unofficial name of the first 1-cent piece? I'll be back right after I find out more about the Buffalo nickel. I hope it's not anything like Buffalo chips. I learned about those things the hard way.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, Stackers. guys. I'm Buffalo nickel lover and guy who's always willing to share his 2 cents, Joe's mom's neighbor Doug. Today we celebrate the Continental Congress giving the green light to the creation of the first 1 cent piece. Well, I mean, then it wasn't called a green light though, was it? It was probably just called like all clear, or you can go ahead instead, because there weren't any green lights yet. Well, I mean, there might have been, I guess, but probably not for traffic controls. I have it on
my
good.
God.
What was I talking about?
Just dark highways.
Okay. Anyway, I've got it on good authority that the inspiration for the 1 cent piece created a lot of great innovations, but not a green light per se. So who was the inspiration for the first 1 cent coin? That would be none other than Mr. Benji Franklin, which is why they call it the Franklin cent. Oh, thank God it isn't what I thought about his BO. Wait, what? And now, here come guys who are going to continue helping you pick up the cent on a better career. Joe and OG.
I love it when Doug stumbles over the joke he wrote.
I mean, sometimes I lose my train of thought.
He thought it was so funny in the read through. And then in the real thing, he's like, I got no clue. What Hey, Ben Franklin for the win.
Oh, wait, I just got it. Cent and cent.
Oh,
it just hit me. It's like the whole thing we did at the beginning with presents and presents.
Yes.
It's all woven so tightly together. This show is so well crafted. Sometimes it evades me.
So well crafted, we got to explain it to you. Got to draw a diagram. Let's get back to unforgettable presents and making a good impression. You know, the whole reason for this discussion is because of the fact that Lorraine was passed up for promotions because she thought that if you just kept your head down, did a good job, people would notice, which brings up the third piece of her RAVE, R-A-V-E, relationships, appearance. The third one is visibility. Even if you're the best, smartest person in the room, it won't help you, OG, if you're not being seen. Unfortunately, today, you got to tell people what you're doing. You have to do that. Now, I think we'll talk with Lorraine about this on Wednesday because this is, frankly, the visibility is what it's all about. But I did want to talk a little bit today about how top managers can make this happen. And so time for a TikTok minute. We're actually going to do 2 TikTok minutes today because I've got another one. But this is Byron Morrison, who is a guy who works with leaders to make them better. Byron has this to say for senior leaders, where a lot of leaders mess up when it comes to meetings. And Doug, I'd love to get, as a guy that's been in a lot of these corporate meetings, I'd love to get your take on this.
While running Amazon, one of Jeff Bezos's rules was the most junior person in the meeting should be the first to share their thoughts and ideas. Why? Because he recognized as soon as he spoke, everyone in the room would be influenced by his opinion, but by letting junior employees talk first, it could then ensure a more open and honest discussion. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see in the first-time CEOs I work with, where often they think that they need to lead the room by sharing their ideas and driving the direction of the conversation. The problem with that is if you share something that goes against other people's ideas, they may be reluctant to speak up. This could make you miss a ton of valuable insights that may have shaped your ideas or completely changed your decision. And this is why the best leaders speak last.
It's interesting because I can see your meeting running amok that way, but also I think that those junior people are going to have a really tough time sharing anything if Jeff Bezos talks first.
Well, first of all, I disagree with the guy's accent. I mean, it's like he merged 3 or 4 different nationalities into it. I mean, dude, pick one. But I agree with part of that notion. I do like the idea. First of all, you've got to have the right culture to empower and make your junior people feel safe enough to share their thoughts early or first in a meeting. So make sure that you're doing what you can at any level, wherever you are in the organization. Make sure you're doing what you can to create that space, that vibe, that culture, openness. That it's open. Yeah. And it's the old, there's no dumb idea kind of thing. Well, sometimes there are, but you might have to just eat it, not laugh, because the culture win is more valuable than anything else. But the second thing that I like about that and is critical is The leader should drive the shape of the discussion, but not by their comments. By a great leader frames problems in a way that sets the discussion off in the right direction. That's what a great leader should do, is frame the challenge, frame the thing that you're trying to solve without overly influencing what the solution should be. And yeah, once you set up the table, set up the board game, as it were. See how I'm appealing to you there, Joe? Look, you looked up.
Look at that.
As soon as I said that, he's like, what? Doug's saying something I care about. Then you sit back and you start with however you want to, whatever your culture is, whether it's the most junior person or the newest person to the team, but not necessarily most junior, however you want to do it, but frame the problem the right way. And a lot of other things take care of themselves.
It's so important, I think, to build that trust. And to your point, it's not something you can do overnight, Doug. I mean, it is something that is proven over and over and over and over and over. Lorraine has a ton of tips on how to make yourself unforgettable to executives. Speaking of executives, and one of the things, OG, is to get comfortable with numbers and data, like being able to talk to people about, especially executives, about numbers and data. And I know that for a lot of people, speaking that way initially is kind of foreign, but I know if you want to get an executive's attention immediately, being able to call up, hey, here's how we're doing, percent growth in this division, or this XYZ, like turn your emotional arguments into data-driven arguments is going to go a long way.
Yeah. I mean, the less opinion that you have with I think and I feel, and the more that you can back up your decision making with real life results, the more likely it is that you'll be listened to, or at least be considered.
4 numbers you need to learn to boost your financial literacy, especially inside of your career. Number 1, revenue growth. You need to know, OG, what that means. If you don't understand revenue growth, that I think probably, I would think for most CEOs, wouldn't you, would be the key metric.
Well, I mean, revenue's great, but profit's better. So,
well, number 2 on Lorraine's list is profitability. How about that?
Yep, there you go.
Number 3 is cash burn. Know what that means. And then number 4 is customer retention. Know those 4 metrics, and you're probably 80-85% of the way there.
It's a good idea. I like that.
Last one that she has is this. Well, before we get there, she talks about with visibility, find the right spaces, look for those meetings that you can be in, those groups that you can be in that are high visibility. Some groups are very low visibility. They're fantastic, but you need to be in highly visible places. Next one, volunteer to present at meetings. The more often you can get in front of people and volunteer to present, the better off you're going to be, even if you're afraid of presenting. I've been in some corporate meetings where the person clearly was afraid to be presenting. And in 99% of those, though, the audience was so warm to that because it showed some vulnerability. And if you just focus on helping the meeting and doing your part to give to the team, I don't think you got to be the world's best speaker. You should definitely work on it, but I don't think you have to be the world's best speaker. The last thing in their model we're going to end with is expertise. And this is interesting because, Doug, you talked about people that don't listen enough and that they give their opinion too quickly. Lorraine says that when you do give your opinion, though, definitely focus on areas where you have an advantage. It's something that you're really good at, where you know that you can shine. Give people feedback in areas where you excel. And the more you give feedback in that one area, it establishes you a leader in that community that people want to go to, especially if it's insight to make them better at that role. So go, hey, Doug, based on my background, here's a tweak you could make that'll make you better. Man, I think if you give that in private to a lot of different people, that's going to go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you have to establish that credibility first before you can just start acting like, well, I'm the expert in this area. Let me tell you what I think. That's going to go over a lot like the guy, that lured OG into a MLM thing. As soon as people realize it, they're out. They'll check out and they won't listen to you again on almost anything. So be careful on what you project yourself as an expert as. But if you can sort of use the whole Aristotelian logos, ethos, pathos as a way over time, as they're getting to know you in your team and build up some of that credibility, then yeah, maybe you focus on an area or two where you feel like you can be that go-to person.
And a place where you can establish that, Lorraine writes, is LinkedIn. start writing on LinkedIn about your one thing.
Nobody reads that stuff, Joe.
Oh, I do. I think it's really good, man. I've noticed a lot more people on LinkedIn than when I was there even 5 years ago.
They're starting to use it now like Facebook. You see the people who post their vacation photos like, dude, wrong platform.
Yeah,
That's
don't do
not
that.
LinkedIn.
I don't want to see your Facebook, but I do want career advice from people that are really good at the thing. I will dive into that all day. But curating that content, create your Substack, whatever it might be. That's the RAVE model. And we will draw those up on our Facebook group tomorrow so that you have all 4 of those and some tips in each of those areas. Also, Kevin Bailey at the 201 will dive into those. stackingbenjamins.com/201. That's our newsletter that comes out every week. And you will get even more links into how to create the rave that OG wants to leave at 9:15. Time for one more segment, guys. This is where we help a stacker in need. From time to time, a stacker goes, you know what? I better call Saul-Sehy and OG. And if you have a question for OG and I and Doug, head to stackingbenjamins.com/voicemail. Today, let's take a question from Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Joe, Doug, and OG. Thanks for taking my call. My name is Nick, and I live in Dallas, Texas. I was calling about what your thoughts are of using AI like ChatGPT to help you make portfolio decisions, whether that's asking it to use the efficient frontier to build a portfolio, asking it for stock tips. Do you find it trustworthy? Do you think the output is useful? Or do you think because it's still in its infancy that it's risky to take its advice? Thank you for taking my call and look forward to your answer.
Thanks for the call, Nick. OG, we actually did a couple shows on this already about AI.
Did we ever put it into ChatGPT?
Did we ever ask ChatGPT if it's helpful?
Yeah.
ChatGPT, are you any good at your job?
Yes.
It's time for the annual review to self-assess.
We have a friend named Robert Farrington who leads the College Investor. Robert rode along with us one day, and his team actually did a study where they asked it a bunch of questions. And OG, the results, if you remember, that Robert and his team found, they weren't good. It was very confidently wrong a ton.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the more that the bot, the chat bot or ChatGPT or Claude or whichever one you're using, the more that it knows about you, the more that it's going to answer the questions based on what it believes that you believe. So if all of your conversation with ChatGPT is about NVIDIA and you go, hey, by the way, out of curiosity, how should my portfolio look at age 35 with 100 grand? It'll be like, well,
NVIDIA.
Obviously NVIDIA and Amazon, but you might want to diversify into Apple. And so when I put it into ChatGPT, it knows how I think about, investing because I've used it for different questions over the years. And so for me, it says, oh, you like to tilt toward small cap and value and profitable companies because you believe in the 3-factor model and efficient frontier and efficient market hypothesis and that sort of stuff. So you want to be a low cost passive investor, and it's going to give me an asset allocation that kind of sounds like what I like. The thing that I find ChatGPT good for is answering the questions that I don't feel like looking up and Googling. And what I mean by that is this, like, for example, the TSP, many people have the TSP, it's a government 401k plan, right? And in the TSP, there's 5 different funds, the C, the S, the I, the F, and the G, right? Everybody's familiar with that. That's in the TSP. But then there's also lifestyle funds. That's what they call them, basically target date funds. So you might have the Lifestyle 2040 fund or the Lifestyle 2050 fund or the Lifestyle 20, whatever. What I like to do is I would say, hey, ChatGPT, what is the allocation of the Lifestyle 2050 fund broken down by S, C, S, I, F, and G? And so it can give me the asset allocate. Like, it's a fancier way to Google, in my opinion. It's not quite ready to make portfolio decisions. And honestly, it's not quite ready to make portfolio decisions because it's going to just respond to the loudest voice, if that makes sense.
Well, and that's also a problem that Robert and his team found, and that I know from taking some classes on how this stuff all works, which is it's predictive modeling. It is trying to predict what the right answer would be based on the body of knowledge that's out there. And especially, OG, in areas where the rules have maybe changed recently. I would say beware what you ask it, because as an example, if the Roth IRA has had a significant change last year, 98% of the stuff that's on the internet is from previous years and hasn't been updated yet. The new rule is not what ChatGPT is going to predict. It's going to
because
go
of the loudest voice is whatever the highest search term was, hasn't been replaced yet on Google of the new updated thing. Absolutely.
So the thing I've needed to learn is, am I asking this a thing that it can predict pretty well? And then I'm very confident asking it the question, but I'm not going to ask it for tax advice. I'm not going to ask it for...
Speaking of tax advice, I was working through a tax problem that I was trying to solve, and I was asking it, these questions, right? Hey, how would I do this? How would I do this? And it goes, oh, this is how you do it. But I know just enough about this problem that I knew that the answer was not that.
What's wrong. Yeah.
And I was like, well, hold on. Isn't it true that this is the answer? And it goes, you know what? You're absolutely correct. The right answer is this. I'm like, okay, well, you've given me two answers in the last two sentences. Which one of these is correct? And it's like, it's obviously this one. And it was a third option. And I said, okay, now I need you to source it. It's like, well, there is no source available for this information. It's like, okay, I'm not going to take tax advice from the internet that can't even give me the source that it got the information from. It was just clearly making it up.
When Kramer had the phone number for Movie Phone, and he just started giving people fake movie times out.
Yeah.
And finally he's like, why don't you just tell me what movie you'd like to see?
So good.
Yeah.
Nick.
So I'd be careful.
Yeah, definitely. Buyer beware there. Or if it's free search, beware.
Even $20 a month on ChatGPT. I find it helpful. I like playing around with it, but you have to have some knowledge in that area. Otherwise, you're just going to go down a rabbit hole of completely, or you have the potential to go down the rabbit hole of completely incorrect information and not know the difference, not know, what this means. So be very, very careful. Be very, very afraid.
Thank you, Nick, for the question. If you've got a question for us, stackybenjamins.com/voicemail gets you there. And we're happy to take your question too. By the way, this was question 999 to the Stacking Benjamin show.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Next week's question, we are going to give a special big time swag and books, and we're going to...
Attaboy or attagirl?
Yeah, somebody's getting the whole balloons, like you show up, you got no idea. We're about to give them some really, really good stuff. So that's next week on Stacking Benjamins. All right, time to wander out on the back porch, Doug. We've had some fantastic discussions, I know, lately.
Well, the best one, I mean, this is one of the best ones I can even remember. Ashley DeConing put one out there, and she put a poll out on Facebook, and it just simply said, there was no, this was fantastic. This shows that you were paying attention to the show. All it said was, pronounce the L or do not pronounce the L. And what she was talking about was, on one of our Friday episodes recently, somebody said salve. Who was that somebody, Joe? It was you.
Oh, it was me. Oh,
you
I'm sorry.
said salve. And I'm like, hold on. Stop the presses.
Because
Did
it
you
is
just
salve.
say salve?
It's 100% salve.
And I just love that Ashley just put that poll out there. And
I thought it was
many
OG
people...
that said it, though, in fairness.
No.
I might have said it after you to maybe backhandedly make fun of you. In fact, I probably did say that.
Yes.
Fine. Okay.
It was a little inside joke between me and Doug when I was like, salve.
But I love that Ashley just put that out there, and like 191 people voted. I think it's more than that, actually. But I mean, a lot of people caught this
on the important stuff on the show.
On the important stuff. This just
comes from a position of love.
It made me feel so validated and seen.
Oh no, we got a letter on this topic as well.
And then we get a letter from somebody who's very credentialed.
What was the vote, by the way?
Okay, so the vote.
What was the outcome?
The vote is that there are 34 psychos out there who think that you should pronounce the L.
AKA smart people.
Okay.
The silent majority.
There were 43 who said you don't pronounce it, but then a couple of other people thought they would be cute and funny, and they put, you can add your own thing to the poll. You can add your own question to the poll, or another option for an answer, I should say. Somebody put in, if it's Italian word for a formal greeting, you pronounce the L. Otherwise, no, because that's just weird. And 5 people, so that's a vote for you don't pronounce the L. That's 5 people clicked on that. And then another 5 people said there's danger no matter how you pronounce it, which leads us to another discussion.
Yeah, we'll get to that
danger.
in a second.
We'll get to that in a second. But so really, another 10 people voted for you don't pronounce the L. And a couple of other weirdos said it's Saul-Sehy, which, so, I mean, now we're getting carried away. But you don't pronounce the L, people. So here's proof. We get a letter from a very credentialed listener, Adam White. Gave us all his credentials after his name. This dude knows what he's talking about. In my experience...
Not credentialed in this area, Doug.
I disagree. He's very credentialed. Listen to this letter. This dude is the shizzle on this area. In my experience...
Merriam-Webster.
That's what the kids say these days.
Is where he works.
In my experience... This is so from Adam. In my experience, salve has been most commonly pronounced salve, and he puts S-A-V in quotes, with a short vowel sound shared by the A in apple and a very silent L. If you simply Google the pronunciation, you will find links to pronunciation guides declaring one way correct in some links and another way correct in other links. These formulations, now he's talking about the pharmacological use of formulations. OG is dying. These formulations are not frequently used anymore, going the way of tinctures and such, albeit even less frequently used. Tinctures, that's a great word right there. We got to find a way to use that in a sentence. Because it is such a seldom utilized formulation, I would not be surprised if it is more frequently pronounced phonetically nowadays because people are idiots. He didn't say that part. Having said that, I have worked with a number of pharmacists from different areas of the country that pronounce common drugs very differently from other pharmacists. So this is likely just another regional question. It's not, Adam. This is universally known to not pronounce the L. Adam is PharmD. I think that means he has his undergrad in pharmacology, and then he has an MBA, and he's a pharmacy and clinical.
Takes care of animals? Takes care of animals. Pharmacology.
Right. Pharmacy, clinical, and operations manager for a company he doesn't want to share with us for probably smart reasons. But this guy is in the drug world and says there's no L.
Well, there you go.
He's a druggist.
So my apology. I would like to have a heartfelt apology to everybody that was completely incensed by my use of the letter L.
But let's explore the other controversial thing that came up, which is danger.
Oh, we had so much fun with danger, whether there is danger.
OG started this one.
OG said there's no danger. I said, nay, there's no danger. And so John, Doug.
Yeah, loyal listener John, with no H. It's a silent H, just like the L. John just put a simple post up, says, hashtag team no danger.
And then the comments flew from there, including on that poll. On the poll, there's danger whether you pronounce it with an L or without an L. So we had a lot of fun with that. That was great. Love that. In fact, I got roasted a little bit on Spotify by Silent Shade, who said my angry tirade was unnecessary. Turns out it created some great discussion, which led to a Friday episode where we talked about all the danger in investing. And OG had all kinds of comments about the 9 different types of danger that there were in investments.
Because you made me do it.
And on that note, let's crown this off. Doug, what are our big takeaways from today's episode?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from our career branding deep dive. Focus on honing your personal brand, and you'll find more Benjamins in that wallet of yours. Second, thinking about using AI for your big financial move? Remember that AI is predictive, and especially with your money, there's lots of old advice AI sifts through before giving you an answer, one that might not be correct. But the big lesson? Don't share today's Ben Franklin trivia with Joe's mom. Next thing you know, she'll be sharing her favorite pennies from 1972, which are really cool. And then she'll share her pennies from 1973, which are also kind of cool. But then, and this was super fun, the pennies from 1974. I keep telling you more, but we're talking 1979 upstairs in 3 minutes, and I'm not allowed to miss it. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, Not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.
Guys, you know that I'm a little bit of a, I don't know the correct term, points whore. Is that acceptable?
Wait, let me look it up. Yeah.
What do the judges say? Okay.
Wow.
For credit card points, it is. So I get a letter in the mail from American Express, and it says, hey, you're eligible. You're pre-approved for the Business Plus cash card. I'm like, hell yeah, I am. So off I go, do my little login thing, apply. Congratulations, you're approved with your $4,000 line of credit. I'm like, okay, not zero, but it's going to take me a while to get my, to get the spend, to get the free bonus points, right? Because I don't know what the spend is, maybe 15,000 over 3 months or something. Thing comes in the mail, you get the envelope and you got to log in to register it. It sits, on my desk for a while, week. Finally, I'm like, all right, I got to get this done. So I log in to do it, and it pops up and it says, $25,000 line of credit. I'm like, oh, finally, those idiots got to,
came to their senses.
Came to their senses. But I notice, and when you log into your credit card, it shows it'll say the credit card, and then it'll have the last 4 digits or whatever.
Yep.
And I go, well, that's not the same 4 digits that I have. What the heck is going on here? So I, kind of click around and look at it. Nope, this is the Business Plus card for the business. It's the blue one. This is what it looks like right here. It's this little blue guy.
Oh.
And I'm like, nope, that's the same one. And so I start going through my Stacko credit cards, this is part of the stack right here.
Do as I say, not as I do, kids.
Well, I mean, as long as you pay them off. But so it turns out that I had another envelope from a year ago where I got this card a year ago.
Oh, man.
And it was still in the envelope. So the reason that the one that they sent me was a $4,000 limit was because I already had one that had $25,000 limit. Anyway, so the moral of the story here is
open your mail.
Yeah,
sounds like the
not
moral.
Open your mail, but keep track of your stuff. So I am I'm turning over a new leaf. Just so everybody knows, I'm into consolidation phase and simplifying. So just because I have 3 of these already, we are going to get rid of 2 of them.
Well, really going out on a limb there. Eliminating 2 of the 3 blue Amexes.
Yeah, well,
wow.
I mean,
talk about Marie Kondoing your
I have an addiction.
You got to get out the bandsaw to cut through all those cards.
I know. Well, these are the cheap plastic ones. These aren't even the cool metal ones, but
the ones that all of you little people have.
Not bad at all. Actually, the plastic ones are better. They're lighter in the wallet. You can carry more of them with you.
They are.
You're like, which one of these 7 do you need today?
Yeah.
Anyway, needless to say, I did not get the bonus points for last year's card because I didn't open it or know it existed.
Did the new 4,000 card negate the previous 25,000 card, or were they?
No, they were the same.
Cumulative.
They literally had 2 line items. Like I had 2, when you logged in, 2 cards. One was a $4,000 limit, one was 25. So I called Amex and I said, can you just put it together, make it 29? Just give me one. They're like, no, pick which one you want. I said, well, okay, obviously I know which one I want, but
let me think.
I want the 4,000 because clearly I can't be trusted.
Because clearly I can't be trusted at 25.